Up With Her focuses on women who are in business, who are leaders, up-and-coming entrepreneurs. We call them thrivers and strivers. So I'll start with thrivers, which are usually 20s, 30s, 40s, trying to get to where they want to be. Any advice when it comes to leadership for these women who are up-and-coming entrepreneurs?
Well, you have to be focused. I think focus is extremely important. I think you have to be strong. I think you have to know what you're going for. That's very important to make up your mind. What are you really trying to do with this time that you have? And I could say a million trite things, but,
right.
but it is really up to the person to sort of develop a path of action. And that's what you have to do. A master plan doesn't always work. You have to be able to compromise. You have to be able to change. You can't be afraid of that. And you go from there.
And I guess that would almost apply to the thrivers, the people who have sort of hit their stride, because you've adapted quite a bit over the years and you've added new things to your brand and to your business.
Yeah.
So would you say change is something that were you always comfortable with?
It's always good.
Okay.
Change is good, adaptation is good, evolution is good. All those words are very important in the development of a career, of a business. And I try very hard to. I have my little sayings for myself. When you're through changing, you're through. That's a very important thing to think about. Also, learn something new every day. Very important in business. Because if you're static and you just go the same way every single day and you're not learning, you can't teach, you can't influence. You have to be able to do all those things.
What is something that you've maybe learned recently?
Well, just today. Today I learned about a little restaurant in Dallas called Rise, where they make souffles of all different kinds, and they make a soup called marshmallow soup. So odd. But I mean, that's just something.
I've been there today. I've been there. It's amazing. Because a souffle is very complicated, so they do it every day.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you one thing, and I'm going to mention this when we go on stage, but one thing that viewers would not know about you just by Googling you.
One thing. Well, they wouldn't know that I do Pilates now 3 times a week on the Reformers and at 6:15 a.m., which has been amazingly helpful.
I was going to ask you how you de-stress. I guess that's probably one of those ways.
Well, that's one way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so Pilates, I've heard that it's a game changer for everyone. I read that you don't have to sleep a lot. Is that true?
Yeah,
how much?
I'm kind of an insomniac.
Okay.
I always have been.
Okay.
My mother would have to come in and take the light bulbs out of my lamps because I would be up reading all night. But that's the way I am.
And so you can get up at 6:15, not a problem?
No.
Okay. When does your alarm go off?
Oh, I don't even need an alarm.
Oh.
I wake up. So it's like, I said it sometimes, if I have to catch a plane and I can't possibly make a mistake, I might set an alarm, but I don't need alarms. I have no curtains on any windows, by the way.
Really?
And so daylight, I wake up with daylight all the time. And that's in every house. I've never had curtains.
For that reason, or you're not a curtain fan?
Both. I like light.
I know. I agree with you. Okay, so let's talk about where you put your attention. You have so many things that you're working on. We're going to discuss more of those when we get on stage later. How do you focus your attention? Is it a daily thing, a weekly thing, so that you are present?
Well, I have 3 executive assistants who kind of focus on my calendar and on my appointments and on my scheduling. And I look at my schedule. I have a week at a glance that comes every day, that goes from Monday through Friday, actually Monday through Sunday. So I look at that calendar. It's a hideous mess. If you saw it, you would be horrified because it's so full. And I try to, and I talk about it at day before. I talk about the following day, and I know what I have to do, and I know where it is basically, and I know where I have to be. But it's a complicated life, and it's good.
You like that, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're.
I had an empty calendar. I would just What would I do if I had an empty calendar? I don't know.
You've never had an empty calendar?
No.
What about on vacation?
That's not never empty. You should see, friends are now fleeing from my vacations. They don't want to go with me anymore.
Because they have to get up and do.
Yeah, they have to get up and really do stuff. You know who wants to go? The kids, the grandchildren. They like to go because they know their day will be full.
Let's talk about the grandkids.
Okay. Favorite subject.
I know. I know. I've watched my parents become grandparents, and like they've been renewed. Okay, so let's talk about them. What do they teach you, and what have you taught them? What are you guys doing right now?
Well, they teach me every day. I mean, the grandson just the other day said, "Why did you name your dog Empress Chin?" And I said, "Well, you know Chinese history. He studies Chinese. He's 11 years old. He speaks Mandarin." And he said, "Well, you know, Empress Qin didn't exist," he said. "The Qin dynasty only had emperors. That was in 700 BC. And I said, "Well, I didn't know that, actually." And I did name the other dog, you know, the cat, Empress Tang, and there was an Empress Tang. He said, "Yeah, but that was 780. This is an 11-year-old telling me." You know, that's what I learned. I learned to be accurate. I learned to be, learn not to fool around with children. My facts better be right.
You can't lie to them, right?
Not lie. You can't make mistakes. So, they're too smart.
Did they listen to Because I Said So? Is that still work or no?
No.
And so you said so they know to vacation with you, their day is full. So what do you guys like to do together?
Oh, we've traveled to all over the world. And my joy is to travel with the grandchildren. And I've taken them to 7 continents. We've been to as far away as Tasmania and Madagascar. We've been to Africa. We've been to China. We've been to South Pole. I mean, we've been to a lot of places.
Favorite spot that stands out?
So far. Well, I really liked Madagascar.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they liked Botswana.
And what was it about Botswana?
Oh, the elephants.
Oh, of course.
They loved it.
Of course.
They're ready to go back.
Okay. And when does that happen? Typically in the summer? Do you do a summer trip?
We have a big trip at Christmas time because and they have a long break from school. And in the summer times they go to Maine with me, up to my house in Maine, and we have lots of activities. It's very nice to be with those kids. Their eyes are open. Their brains are, very, very agile.
I love it. I know. I'm telling you, I've watched my parents just, they want to be with them all the time.
Yeah, of course. Let them, please.
I do. Absolutely. Okay, speaking of travel, does that inspire any of the different projects you have going on right now? Does that infiltrate any of your ideas?
No, oftentimes, traveling will introduce me to something new, something different, maybe a new craft, maybe a new product, maybe a new manufacturing facility. We're doing a lot of manufacturing in India now. Since the pandemic, China has become kind of problematical for making many of our products. Many are now being made in India, which is very active and the most populous nation on earth. Did you just read that?
Wow,
yeah.
No.
It just superseded China as the most populous nation. So they're so aggressively interested in business. So that's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at this point then, when you're looking at all of these different projects you have going on, what is something that you're really excited and you're focused on right now?
Well, we're doing a very nice line of outdoor furniture that's made from recycled materials. And it's weatherproof. It's beautifully designed. It looks really great. I'm testing it now. I think it's going to be a big hit. And we are doing... There's so many different products. Yes.
I know. That's
our new television show for Roku. We have many shows being produced for this year on gardening, on cooking, and on entertaining. And they're fabulous programs. They are such good educational and fun programs. So that takes up a lot of time.
Your podcast has been really educational as well.
The podcast is so much fun.
Do you do these once a week? Is it all in one day?
Podcast is once a week, sometimes twice a week if I have to skip a week. But I basically want to interview people who I know. And I know a lot of people, and I've met a lot of people in my life. People who I admire, people who are doing interesting things, people who are making fantastic things. I just did Ryan Murphy, who is, Mr. Television, and he's fantastic. And at the end of it, we came up with a program idea for the two of us to work on. So that engenders a whole lot of other stuff. Bunny Williams is on this week, the legendary and fabulous interior designer. And she's so much fun, and there's so much to learn from her about making a house a home.
You don't stop. I mean, just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, we're looking forward. We're looking at what's going to be happening next. So what is something that you go, okay, this is a winner, this is not a winner? You obviously have developed an eye for that. How do you know?
Well, I don't want to work on projects or on products that I do not believe in. So if there is, say, a dog food that is not a good dog food, I'm not going to put my name on it or actually, do work for them. I don't want to do that. I want my products with my name associated to be good products. So that's how I operate.
And I know that you're working on, there was a wing or an area in a hospital that you've been working on as well.
I developed a hospital at Mount Sinai 12 years ago. It's called the Martha Stewart Center for Living. It's a geriatric outpatient ward. We have two hospitals now, one in Union Square in New York City and one uptown at the main hospital at Mount Sinai. And it is a hospital devoted to caring for anybody over the age of 65. And it's very successful. People are learning so much about themselves. We consolidate their records. We guide them on their medications. We do exams. We help them with operations. Everything. It's a fabulous hospital.
There's a gap oftentimes, I feel like, and people don't have that advocating for themselves when it comes to when you get older. I only say that because I have my parents who I feel like are very good at advocating for themselves, and still they face challenges.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the population is aging drastically. In 2030, there's more people over the age of 65 than under 65 in the United States. Who is going to care for those people? Doctors, for a long, long time, wouldn't touch geriatric medicine. They really found it to be, boring and problematical, and then people are old, whiny people. Over 65 is not so old anymore.
Nope.
And by the way, that is it's very important now that the population is really veering toward the aged. Doctors all of a sudden have discovered geriatric medicine, and they are paying a lot more attention to it. But look what's happening to aging. It's becoming non-aging or successful aging. And I'm talking about living, not dying. I'm talking about getting old gracefully and not getting old, just living gracefully. So there's a lot of terminology change and a lot of stuff going on in the world of successful living.
That's right. Okay. I have to ask you one more before they were going to kick me out of here.
It's very hot in here.
Snoop Dogg. Everyone likes to ask you about Snoop Dogg. What is it about your relationship that people are so attracted to?
He's a good friend. We work really well together. You can go to Times Square this week and see a giant billboard with Snoop, Martha, and the very fabulous Willie Nelson talking about Bic lighters.
Okay.
100 feet high.
Okay.
Just go look at that.
Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you.